How's it going, people? Hope you're well. Welcome back to the show. It's the North London podcast. We don't have Sean tonight, so we got Deji on. Sorry about that, goodness. But he is here. He's here to rep Tottenham. He's here to talk about shaking his bum, dusty as Tutankhamun's coffin, and all the rest of it, man. So big up to Deji. I know we don't have you for long, my bro, but thank you so much for coming on. Henry's back in the house, and Lee's here as well. Listen, now Henry's moved, mate. That's it. He's here all the time now, Lee. Do you know what I mean?
Top quality, you know what I mean? And he loves the Arsenal deep down as well. Like, I know he was cheering on Arsenal on Tuesday night. You know
yeah. Well, listen, his second channel now. That must have gone bang. Your second channel, Henry Talks Arsenal. I mean, that must have absolutely gone bang. Honestly. I'm joking, man. Make sure you go follow Henry Talks Football when he's mucking around. It isn't Henry Talks Arsenal. It is Henry Talks Football. But Sean likes to wind him up because apparently all he does is just rant about Arsenal. So there we go. But make sure that you go over to Henry Wright TV and Henry Talks Football. And, of course, Deji Spurs, man. Make sure you go support these guys, man, because they're putting out content all the time. Lee, how are we, bro?
Yeah, all right. I've sort of got over Tuesday night a little bit now. Mega disappointed with that, I have to say. But, we move now. We move on. Other than the disappointment of Tuesday, everything good in the Judgy household,
Good man. Henry, let's come to you first, mate. Let's talk quickly about Bukayo Saka and the incidents, because as a Spurs fan, quite a level-headed Spurs fan, just want to get your thoughts on Tuesday night very quickly, and if you thought it was a penalty or not, because Saka's getting a lot of stick. I will say this actually, right? Saka gets so much stick no matter what he does. If he turns up and plays all right, he gets told he's trash. If he turns up and plays well, he's not as good as so-and-so, 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 so-and-so. And if he does get kicked and he is a penalty, he's a diver. If he isn't a penalty, he's still a diver. So I don't really think he can win, but I didn't think it was a penalty, bro. Me and Lee were both having a to and fro about it. Lee thinks it is. I'm not so sure that it is. What do you think, bro?
Just on Saka, first of all, like you can't, if you give him a compliment, the narrative is, but he's not as good as Foden, he's not as good as Palmer. And then we had the same thing with Kane. Every time Kane would score a goal, but he's not as good as Haaland. Yeah, that's just football fans nowadays. Part of me thinks it wasn't a penalty and part of me thinks it does. I'll start with it does. If you watch the way Saka goes down, it's not a diving motion, right? I mean, whenever a player wins a penalty, as soon as he feels the contact, he naturally leans forward, his back arches up, and then he goes down. Saka, I mean, I don't know why he doesn't just shoot for starters. I don't know why he doesn't just take it around Neuer and shoot. Because if he does, he's 3-2. But on the balance of play, there is contact there, and he does go down. If that's a Premier League official, that's a penalty. We know how inconsistent the Premier League refs are. But in the Champions League, it's not a penalty. But they're a lot more stricter. I mean, on the balance, I don't think it is. I don't think it is a penalty. But we've seen, I mean, the amount of replays I've seen of Jamie Vardy when he was at Leicester going down, taking the contact and getting penalties. Like we've seen on another day on another fixture, that would be a goal. And just to make things better, Atalanta are 1-0 up at Anfield.
Are you for real?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Scamacca, the old West Ham player.
Old Scamacca. Wow, that's incredible. I did not expect that. I can't lie. Deji, I guess you thought it was a blatant penalty and Harry Kane should have got sent off and Arsenal should have won the game, I guess, yeah?
Yeah. Okay, look, let's deal with the Saka incident. Neuer puts his foot, you can see his foot stuck on the ground, and Saka kicks him and falls over. For me, Saka was auditioning for season 3 of Bridgerton, and it was a poor audition at that. For me, what it does show, though, is that your whiz kid, aka Starboy, is under a lot of pressure. Lee, we talked about it a couple of weeks ago that we all agreed on the show that we felt that Saka had pulled out of international duty so he could focus on the league, so he could focus on the Champions League. And I believe the pressure of Arsenal needing to get it over the line was reflected in that moment. He doesn't need to do that. And then what made matters worse, sometimes when you go down by mistake, some players just put their hand up. You know what? It was a bit of a mistake. I thought he was going to hit me. He didn't hit me and I fell over. He didn't do that. Instead, he went into his best Oscar-winning performance, pretending like he was robbed. And I think that was the bit that really upset me the most. It's like, why are you lying? There's cameras everywhere. We can see you kick Neuer's knees and you fell over. So I think from that perspective, it's disappointing, but it does show that the poor kid, star boy, whiz kid, is feeling the pressure at the moment. And I agree with Henry. Stays on his feet. If that's Vinicius Jr., if that's Kane, if that's, you know what I mean? If that's Ollie Watkins, mate, that bloody goes in. You know what I mean?
Why he doesn't shoot.
And bang it in.
He opens up his body. He's on his left-hand side, right? I don't know why he doesn't just shoot or take around the goalkeeper. Like I understand his thought process because Neuer, if that's a penalty, he's probably going to get sent off or a yellow there. But I just don't get why you wouldn't shoot in the first place before you even got to the goalkeeper. Neuer's 15 yards off his line.
He wanted to be sure. He didn't want to fluff his lines. He wanted to be sure that this was going in. And in that moment, he felt like he was about to be hit. Unfortunately for Saka, he wasn't hit. And so now we're having a debate about it. I just wish he just go back to the
like what he done at Liverpool.
What's that?
Like what he done at Liverpool.
Yeah,
Goes round the goalkeeper, gets fouled and don't go down and don't get the penalty. Is that what he's got to do?
Mate, I think as a player, you shouldn't be looking for.
I don't think he is. I think he's running at pace. In my book, I've played it. That's a penalty. In my book, it's a penalty. I've seen Harry Kane do that against us, and everybody go, it's clever, it's this and it's that.
What makes it even worse
against Portsmouth, and that wasn't a penalty. That was a different sort of a thing. It's running at pace, and you know what I mean. Like
for me, Lee, I prefer it. I prefer it the way you just described it. I prefer players to stay up rather than go down. We're not wanting to win. I know there's this thing that we got to win by all costs, but you do it clean, because if you do stay up, the opportunity will come and you can put it in the back of the net. But when you don't, you're regarded as a cheater. I mean, there were many times where opposition fans would call Kane, a notorious cheater. And to be honest with you, it does leave a sour taste in one's mouth. I don't want that. I want the best players playing the best football and getting the best results. And in that moment, I just felt.
I get what you're saying, but like, let's face it, I don't see Harry Kane as a cheat, or a diver. I think it's clever. It's dark arts. You know what I mean? I don't see it as a. If someone makes, like with Neuer, like what Neuer doesn't put out his leg. You know what I mean? Of course he does. You know what I mean? Like if Neuer's not there, he don't go into him. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. I just think 9 times out of 10 you get a penalty for that. Like, I can see why it's not given, but for me it's a stonewall penalty. I've watched it loads of times. I see what you're saying on all that. Like, but Neuer kicks one angle, shows it completely differently. And what annoys me about it, and I'll be really honest with the Harry Kane's elbow and all like, so you can't, put the Harry Kane elbow in slow motion. It's stonewall sending off and should have gone off. In real time, 50-50. And I think that's the same with a penalty. I think, everybody's slowing it down. But when you watch that at real time, I don't think you can say it's not a penalty.
Do you remember Jota's penalty when he went down and it was like, how on earth are we given that? He went past the goalkeeper.
Yeah, I remember that, yeah.
And that's the problem. There's too many inconsistencies. If that is a Premier League referee and Saka goes down, he gives that as a penalty.
Henry, it's right. You can go back to the Wan-Bissaka one with Harvey Elliott. It's the same thing. You know what I mean? Like,
he barely touches him, yeah.
I hear what you're saying. The only thing I will say, Lee, which I'm slightly surprised about, if you watch the angle again, and I'm just saying the normal angle, normal Sky Sports angle, he kicks Neuer. If Neuer hits Saka's leg, I would fully agree with you. But actually, what you see is at the pace he does, hits his leg going towards Neuer. Neuer's leg is down.
I'm agreeing with Deji.
And he can't believe I'm agreeing with Deji. I'm just trying to be fair and unbiased here, but that's my fault. Whereas with the whole Harry Kane wasn't even looking at the geezer. He wasn't even looking.
He knows what he's doing, Deji. He knows what he's doing.
Let's be really honest about the Harry Kane one. Let's be really honest about it. I'm not having no nonsense about Harry Kane's a nice guy and all that. Like, he's not. He is not. He is not a nice guy. He's in there to win games of football. He's got a nasty side to his game, which is fine. But he gives it out that he's the nice guy now. He's not. He knows exactly what he's doing. His feet ain't even off the floor when he does it. There's no, you know, if he's jumping, I can understand it. When your feet are on the floor and you're doing that, there's no defense for it. But in saying that, I say it again. It's not a bad thing to have those dark arts. Dennis
Doesn't
Bergkamp
stop South Americans winning games, is it? Never stops the South Americans winning games.
No. Dennis Bergkamp had a very, very nasty little streak in him as well. You know what I mean? So I don't, you know, and done some things on the pitch that he didn't get away with. Harry Kane gets away with a lot because he gives this squeaky boy image. You know what I mean? And
he's the golden boy, isn't he? He's the golden boy of.
Yeah, listen, he plays on that. Good luck to him. That's what. Do you know what my mate always said? And it's a great point where he said, I can't stand it. He's England captain because that gives him a little bit more of a pass than anybody else. Mm. And I get what he's saying on that. It's England captain. Do you remember, you guys probably might not remember it. I don't know, but in '98, Alan Shearer done Lennon. Yeah. And he was going to be banned for the next 3 games and missed the cup final, right? And he turned around and said, "If I'm banned on this, I'm not going to the World Cup and all that." And they let him off. And I think little things like that for because you're England captain. But listen, at the end of the day, it is what it is. There were other controversies in there. I think we got away with one with a penalty. Looking back at it, when he picks it up, you have to say that. And at the end of it, that would have been worse going 3-1 down, Dan. So I think at the end of the day, we take our medicine and move on, So
Let me come to you both, you Spurs lads. That Arsenal going to get through this tie, or do you think it's going to be done now? Do you think that Bayern can do us at the Allianz?
So before the game started, I think I told you, Dan, several times. I expect Arsenal to get to the final of the Champions League, not because I thought Arsenal was that good, but because I thought that the European teams were that dusty, in my personal opinion. And I felt let down by Arsenal's performance on Tuesday. I'm feeling a little bit deflated like Lee right now because I was expecting them to really turn Bayern Munich. Yeah. I mean, they've lost their last 2 league games. And they're losing to some ferociously dusty teams. I mean, it's sandstorms, the sort of dust that these guys are playing against. And the fact that Bayern Munich could come and get a result. And the thing that kind of struck my mind is, and that's what I was saying to you just before we aired, Lee, is that I noticed that there was a negative correlation between Arsenal and Easter eggs. But it looks like Easter just started a week late, in my personal opinion, because Arsenal...
It was Easter this time last year.
Well, there's something with Arsenal in April. They just don't seem to play well. And I reckon it kicked off this week because that performance against Bayern Munich was shocking. That team had Eric Dyer in defence. Eric Dyer couldn't get a sniff at Tottenham Hotspur, yet he's here defending the ball against, your team. So for me, I saw the cracks in the mentality, in the mentals. The handball was an indication of that Gabriel instinct. He just wasn't concentrating. That's why that mistake happens. And luckily, for the sake of football, you guys weren't punished for that. But we can see that that was a wobble. Tuesday night was a big wobble. And what we're saying is we're expecting this team to go to the Allianz Arena with Bayern Munich with their tails up and go out and get a result. Arsenal got to go at Bayern Munich. You got to go there and go at them. I'm not so sure. For me, on paper and based on the way that you've been playing this season, it would be a disgrace if you don't get to the semis, to be honest, because Bayern Munich are just rubbish. But at the same time, it would be strike one. If you don't get past Bayern Munich next week, then I think the wobble started on Tuesday night.
Henry?
Listen, the old Spurs fan, I'll take that. I'm going to listen to Desi there because they know all about wobbles. Don't they like that? We'll take that. Yeah. Man of experience.
When I because we did our predictions a couple of weeks ago and I said you get Bayern And when I
Yeah.
saw the both team sheets, I thought, Arsenal. I even said to all the lads in the group chat, Arsenal will score 3 or 4 tonight. The 2 words you can say about Bayern Munich in that performance was composure and organised. The way they set up, was it Lerma and Goretzka in front of their back 4? The way they tactically got it spot on in terms of counter-attacking. Leroy Sané and Gnabry had so much space to run in. And it's not a traditional Arsenal performance. You're normally so compact and tight at the back, and there was so much space. I mean, for the penalty, Leroy Sané, the pass for the first goal, by the way, into Goretzka into Gnabry, pure class. Absolute class.
It was.
But that Arsenal have kept 4 clean sheets in the last 5 Premier League games. They've been as solid as it can be, and this is the worst Bayern Munich team in a decade. Right? And they've been in the league this season. They've been blown away by Leverkusen, and then when you look at how good they were going forward, and the fact that they're out of the title race in Germany, they've got a game on Saturday. They can rest 4 or 5 players, the likes of Kane, the likes of, I think Gnabry's out of the second legs. I think Kane, Sané, Goretzka, I think Davies is out of the second leg as well. They'll rest 5 or 6 players. Arsenal can't afford to do that against Villa. I know Villa are playing tonight and Arsenal have had a couple more days rest, but Arsenal could probably rest, I don't know, maybe Rice and Saka, but they can't make 5 or 6 changes because Villa are no mugs. They're in a top 4 race for a reason. All the indicators are leaning towards a Bayern win. I don't see, European heritage and all that. It's a tough place to go. You've got a horrendous record there. I don't think you've ever won at the Allianz. I mean, everything's indicating towards a Bayern win. However, if Arsenal play like they have in the Premier League in the knockout stage against Bayern, Arsenal will win. But we haven't seen that in both games against Porto. You're rusty against it just, I don't know what it is. It's like is it inexperience? Is it naivety? Like, you watch Arsenal in the Premier League, you watch them against Brighton, they look the best team in the league by far. Then you watch them against Bayern Munich, and it's like all the instructions that Arteta gives to stay back. One of the defenders inverts into the middle, overload. I didn't get the substitution either. I didn't get why he brought on Tomiyasu, because Sane, when I saw Zinchenko coming on, and I get it's to help the midfield so Rice can push forward, in a one-on-one, Sane eats Zinchenko alive. Like, 9 out of 10 times he's getting around him. I didn't really get the substitutions. Fair play, he rolled the dice and he went for it. But if Koeman takes that chance, but Bayern should have come away there with a win. I mean, you were wasteful in the first half and the final third. Odegaard, though, for me, was your best player.
Yeah,
I've not seen a player like that in a number 10 role with that work rate, getting back, making last-ditch tackles. Thought Ben White was very good, but I'm sorry to say, I think Bayern will win.
I think in the Premier League, Ben White scores that goal. I've said it and I'll say it again. Like, you know what I mean? I think, like, because it's Champions League and it was Neuer, he just sort of went, I'll smash it as hard as I can. And that's not really like Ben White. We go 2-0 up in that game. I think it'd been a different game. I think, like, they're favourites now because they're at home. You turn around and say 50-50 Man City and Real Madrid, but you would actually say now you favour City because they're at home. And I think that's the same with this game. I think, like, I've been there before. It's a hostile stadium.
You reckon? Do they have fans next week though, Bayern?
Yeah.
Is there?
Yeah. So it's like their fans are allowed to be there. Like,
I think that even added even more pressure on Arsenal. The fact that there was a full stadium, it was like almost. I think
you don't have that same interaction with the away fans. Yeah, I don't know. That's the first time I've ever been to a proper game. Like, we've been to friendlies, but that was a proper game where there was no fans in there. Like, I mean, it
was really odd.
It was a little bit weird, but like, it's going to be tough out there. It's a tough place to go in with. Where I disagree with Deji a little bit is that we don't have to go there, and they've still got to beat us to get through. They're going to maybe have to change their game a little bit and come at us a little bit. That might be a little bit different. I thought the game plan that they set up was very, very good for a draw, and it'd be interesting now. Do they go the same way, or do they go and try and beat us? And if they do, we might be out of it on the counter attack. And like, I look at the Brighton game, I know it's only Brighton, it's a different thing, but like they had 80% of the possession in the last 20 minutes and we had 6 shots. So, you know, could probably get them on the counter. It might be better if, you know, if Martinelli can have a little bit of space. I don't know. You know, I'll be really honest.
If
was
Kimmich
away
plays up
goal,
against
would be out.
I think if Kimmich plays up against Martinelli won't get a sniff.
Yeah,
But
he's a good player. He's a good player.
The big like green tick would be that there's no Davis. So Saka.
Yes, that's a good point.
I mean, he's probably the fastest fullback in Europe, and he's probably going to be at Real Madrid in the summer. But Saka should be. If I'm Arteta, I would rest Bukayo Saka against Villa. I'd play someone else out there. Play Trossard on the right, or Jesus. You got the depth there, and then just give him an extra few days rest because up against it's probably I don't know who is it going to be Missouri they're going to play there. I mean, Saka's probably going to get the better of him, and that's where you win the game on account of Martinelli and Saka. I probably would. I know you're probably not going to agree with this, but I think Jesus. I would go Jesus over Havertz.
Yes, 100%.
Yes,
on the counter, I think that he's going to be more dangerous. Yeah. Havertz is great in games where you're going to have a lot of the possession. I think Bayern could quite easily have 60% possession that game.
Well, listen, this weekend we'll see the changes. You two are Arsenal fans this weekend, right? I guess.
Nah.
You want us to beat Aston Villa? Good
evening, mate.
Get that Champions League, mate.
We're not bothered, to be honest. The thing is, though, I just think Arsenal can't afford to. You can't even afford to take Declan Rice out of the squad for the Villa game because you do that and you're giving Villa a leg up. You know, Villa is going to be a dodgy game. Yeah. I think you and I got a draw at your gaff last season, and he's always moving forward. He's got a point to prove. So. You know, Arsenal got to be at their best. You've got to bring out the guy. If you get early goals, what you can do is take the players off early. Do you know what I mean? And allow them to rest. But if you've got 60, 70 minutes in and the game is a draw, then I think it's a complete disaster, actually. And Villa have got one over Arsenal on the weekend. But I look at Eric Dyer. I'm so sorry. Eric Dyer starting at the back for Bayern Munich, mate, is a liability for me. And I just think anyone who sees him, you should be licking your lips. Arsenal have enough firepower and enough quality to go over to Germany and get a result.
He's got good players around him, though. So he's got good play. I thought he done all right, to be fair. You know, maybe at fault for one of the goals, but I thought he defended very, very well. Like, you know what I mean? And the way that they set up is completely different to our Spurs set up. You know, he's a deep line. It'd be interesting. I don't think he'll play in the next game. Do you know why? Because I think Bayern Munich will play 10 yards further forward.
Yeah, they'll play Kim and Jae.
Yeah, and I think that that would make it there. So I think that in this game there, playing the way they did suited him a little bit more. Like, you know, he weren't worried about people getting behind him. I've got a feeling he won't play in the next game. Like, you know.
Yeah.
Deji, give me a prediction then for Arsenal Villa.
Do you know what? I think it'll be a draw. I think it'll be a 1-0 draw. Simply because I think he did it last season. I can see him doing it this season, low block. And the thing that I've noticed about Unai is that when he plays the big six, he doesn't, most of the big six managers play their way, but he kind of tweaks their squad to against the opposition. So, for example, when we play them, he tried to nullify our flying fullbacks, and he couldn't, and they got slapped up 4-0. I think he's going there to frustrate Arsenal, to be honest, and I think they might get a cheeky 1-0 draw. Yeah, I think it could be a draw.
Henry?
Well, Villa are currently winning 1-0 at half-time in the Conference League. I think he'll rest Watkins and a couple of other players. They've actually got a good record in London. They've beaten Chelsea and us. All that being said, though, there's a lot of pressure on you lot, isn't there? Because City play Saturday and Liverpool play just before. So if both those teams win, which is looking likely, you've got to go at them. They've got no Douglas Luiz either. I'm going to go Arsenal 2-0.
Yeah, that's what I'm going with.
I think Villa will rest too many players. If Villa didn't have the Conference League game, then I'd fancy Villa to get something. But, to go Thursday again with the same 11 players, I think Watkins gets a rest. And I think you get something. Like, if fifth's enough for Champions League, I think Unai will be looking at that and going, we're still going to get Champions League either way. I can't see.
You think he's going to rest Watkins against Arsenal?
I think he has to. I mean, if Watkins goes 90 minutes tonight, 90 minutes Sunday, and then 90 minutes Thursday, then the following Sunday, that's a lot of football. And they haven't really got the depth. I mean, who else can they play up front? And maybe Bailey or Diaby?
John Duran, that's it, isn't it?
Yeah, I think they're going to have to, or he maybe play 60 minutes against Arsenal. I don't
might
think he'll
take him off. Yeah, I don't think he'll rest him completely. I think he'll start him and take him off. But yeah, I'm going to go 2-0 to the Arsenal. Before we move to Tottenham, Lee, what are you saying?
Yeah, I think like the 4 days rest. You know, like I know they've had a couple of days off, and they're back in training tomorrow. So they've had like the rest would have done them well. You know, Declan Rice definitely needed a few days off and break. And I think that playing Tuesday and then Sunday has helped us because it could have been Tuesday, Saturday, couldn't it, if it weren't for that. So I think that extra day gives us a little bit more. And also then we don't play till Wednesday. So I think that we can afford to play our strongest team in both games. So I think it'd be tough. I don't think it'd be easy, but I think we'll get through it.
Interesting. I'm going to go 2-0. Deji, before you go, mate, Newcastle, mate, it's going to be tough. You're going to go St. James's Park. You fancy yourself?
Yeah, I do actually. Postecoglou. I mean, look, I think Newcastle had their full team like last season. I would have said to you, look, I'm not lying. I mean, Newcastle notoriously are a team that could slap Spurs 6 or 7. I mean, they're one of our bogey teams when it comes to getting beat by heavy scorelines. I mean, bloody hell, that's why we bought Sissoko and he was an absolute disaster. But I think they've got too many players out. They've got too many players out, and we're just going to have too much for Newcastle. I mean, I see Spurs exerting our authority over them this season, to be honest. We slapped them 4-1. It was light work, and we didn't even have the squad that we have now. And I think we go there and we give them a good job. I don't think Trippier is playing. I think it's Livramento. And what I've seen from Timo Werner, although I don't think he wants to get involved in any physicality, defenses just stand off. They just don't want it because they're too afraid of his pace. And so if Livramento goes flying forward, he's going to be in acres of space. And that's what Postecoglou has been using to great effect. I just hope I would rather Son on the left, Richarlison start in the middle. Henry will probably disagree with me on that, and Brennan Johnson on the wing. Midfield, I actually want to see Bentancur and Højbjerg start. I think if you're playing well, you deserve to start, and I just think Basuma and Pepe have been a bit off this last couple of weeks, and then leave our fullbacks. So yeah, I think we hurt Newcastle this weekend, and I'm going to go with a 3-1 Spurs.
Interesting, man. Before I come to Henry for his Newcastle and Spurs prediction, I know you've got to go, so I wanted to ask you very quickly before you do. Ange Postecoglou has come out and said he wants a title race next season. Is he living in ambitious land, or is he living in dreamland for that to happen next year for you?
Is that to me?
Deji, yeah, go on.
Yeah, mate. So I get absolutely blasted online when I come out with chest talking about my beloved club, and I'm so grateful that we have a manager that walks the talk and has some kahunas. The fact of the matter is, the guy knows what he's talking about. He's built a foundation, and he's used this season very much as a test and learn to know the squad. But I reckon the reason why Postecoglou is able to come out with that statement is because, in terms of the summer transfer window, whoever they've identified as what we need to bring in to allow us to kick on, they've already got verbal agreements in place. And as long as we bring in the additional players, I think we want to bring in Hankapi or something like that. We want to bring in Gimenez from the Dutch league. And then we want to bring in Nico Williams as well. We're bringing in that type of quality. Then I think Tottenham are definitely in a title challenge. Let me just remind you, because for those who like to do quick maths, Spurs are only 11 points behind Arsenal, who are top of the league. I'm just saying, 11. We've literally halved the gap from last year. Over half the gap. So for me, can Spurs kick on? I think we can, and I think and Klopp, and Liverpool won't be there, innit? I don't see Liverpool challenging because Klopp is going to be a big void, and it's going to take them a couple of transfer windows or whatever to get someone who's going to be able to do that job. So Spurs are primed to take that place and to carry on the good work that Liverpool have been doing the last few years. And now it's going to be our beloved club. So, yeah, I do see Spurs challenging.
Wow. Well, listen, it's been a pleasure, Dej. It's always fun chatting to you, bro. And we'll let you get out of here because I know you've only got till 9. And big up to yourself, man. Make sure you get over there and follow Deji Spurs. And yeah, we'll see you next. Lee, have you got anything to say before Deji departs?
No, I love him. I actually think he's a good guy. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and listen, I'm going to say I like that sort of talk. You know what I mean? That's how you should be talking before the season. You know, I think that, you know, Spurs would have took top 4 this season, but now that they're going to get top 4, they want to push into something else. And you know, I think whether you agree with Deji or you agree with Ange or not, you know, that's what you want to hear. You want to hear saying, like, you know, we're not just in here to get top 4. I've heard that a lot from Arsenal over the years, and now, you know, we're in title challenges. And listen, I know Spurs want to be in a title challenge, and I get that, like, you know, but Manchester City haven't lost since December, and they're 3rd in the league. It's tough.
Yeah, look, and I'm not saying Spurs are going to win the league.
No, but you want a challenge, and that's exactly what I've said about Arsenal, and I agree with it. If you weren't a Spurs fan, I'd say good luck to you, but I'm not going to say that.
No, cheers. Yeah. Well, look, it's exciting times. I mean, we've been in the doldrums the last 4 years, and it's been playing dusty football because we wanted to get a Carabao Cup. High time we need to be playing at the right table. I look forward to seeing Barcelona or Real Madrid at the Tottenham Stadium next season. That's where we want to be, playing with the best players, playing the best football, and we'll see what happens. But yeah, it's. I think every other Rivals fan should be. You need to wake up and start looking at my club, because Spurs are coming and we're coming hard.
Fight and talk, man. Listen, Deji, you're a legend, my bro. Get out of here, man. We'll see you later, bro.
Cheers, guys. Thanks a lot.
Take care, man. Take care. Right, Henry, let's come to you now. What are you saying?
No, listen, you can laugh.
I love him. He is hilarious.
I think he's got, you know, some things there. Listen, Spurs weren't even in Europe this season. Like, you know, forget that it's Spurs. That they've done that. But the worrying thing that I would say to a Spurs fan and say, Newcastle got into it last season, couldn't kick on and do it. Like, you know, Aston Villa, I think, are going to get in there this season. Will they kick on next season? I don't think so. So, you know, I don't see how you can write off Liverpool when they're up there, even though they've not.
They'll still be in the title race.
They'll still be up there, you know. So, listen, there's you know,
maybe it'll be all 4 of us, Lee. You never know. Maybe it'll be all 4 fighting for the title. Can you imagine? Henry, I mean, we'll come to Newcastle in a minute. Like, I don't know what Ange said. Somebody in the chat said it wasn't that. He said he didn't want top 4.
It was on Sky Sports. It was last week. He basically said that top 4 is great, but the goal is to be in a title race, and that's what he wants next season. Do you know? I think Lee's right. You need that sort of.
Yeah, I agree. You've got to have that ambition, haven't you?
Yeah, exactly. But the difficulty is going to be is a lot of the time this season we've played games, and coming in 60th, 70th minute, we're flagging because of how intense the style of football is. That's fine doing that 1 game a week, but when you're doing it Tuesday, Saturday, Wednesday, Sunday, Tuesday, Saturday continuously, plus the domestic cups. He also said he wants to try and win one of those, which means more games in the cups. At the moment this season, I think we've had a 41 game season. West Ham have already played. I think they've already played 45 games this season already.
Yeah.
Plus, they've probably got another 8 or 9 games in the league, and potentially another 4 games in the Europa League. Plus, I think Liverpool have played a stupid amount of games. But for Tottenham to go and actually win a title, we need an out-and-out DM. And I'm not talking about someone who can play that role. I'm talking about an anchor who can kind of sit in front while the fullbacks invert. We need another wire player who can probably get 10 to 15 goals a season. People were talking about Rafinha. I saw him last night. He doesn't look like he wants to leave Barcelona. I don't know about you guys. Pedro Neto, injury concerns there. I mean, if the reports are right from Florian Plettenberg and Ivan Toney's available for £40 million, I mean, what are we waiting for? Like, if Sky Sports are legit saying that he's available for £30-40 million and Tottenham won a title race, He's the closest thing you're going to get to Harry Kane. So you can drop deep. He's fantastic on the ball. He's an aerial threat. Like we probably need 6 signings to be where you and Liverpool are. We need a wide player, a striker, another fullback who can play left and right, probably some more cover in the middle, and another playmaker. You're probably looking at another 200 million quid. Like you boys spent 700 million pounds, but you didn't get there after your second season, did you? Liverpool spent 400 million quid to go and win a title. Man City did 300 million quid on defenders to go and win a title. Like, it's fantastic when you look at where Ange's after his first season. You know, when Arteta was 8th in his first year, Klopp was 8th in his first year. But there's going to be a lot of expectation next season if we get in Europe. And how are we going to cope with the European football? You boys have obviously done well, but it's not your first season going for a title, is it? It's your second/third. So, yeah, I mean...
And then Man United are not going to be as poor as they are this season.
Man United. I think Chelsea will get rid of them. I think the one is going to be the interesting one.
Yeah, they can't afford to be as poor as they have been this season.
Newcastle will be interesting to what they do in the summer, because I've no idea if they have or haven't got money.
They can't. They got to sell before they can buy.
Yeah, I see that today.
It wouldn't surprise me if Isak or Gordon, one of those will go this summer. I think. Even Gordon, I'd take
Bruno
Gordon
Guimaraes
in a heartbeat.
as well, man. Bruno Guimaraes.
Yeah, it's something like one of the Brazilians is going to go, don't they?
Isak or Guimaraes. But yeah. I'd take them both at Arsenal. I think they're bloody brilliant, both of them. I'd love Bruno G at Arsenal. He's a horrible player. That's what you want in your midfield, mate.
If you put Isak
is quality.
Arsenal's team, I probably think you'd be 5 or 6 points better off than you are now.
100%.
I will say that with him, you know, you're looking at 80 million, and he's got injury problems as well. Like, you know, I don't know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money to spend out, and then to be sidelined a lot. You know, so I don't know. It'd be interesting.
No, I found
Tony would be a good one, wouldn't it?
I found that Tony would be brilliant. I like Tony as well. And if Tottenham have even sniffing around him, they've got to go for it.
He wants to go to
Who?
Apparently, it's Arsenal and Chelsea are the favourites to sign him.
Who,
he can't go Chelsea, surely. They're not even that much better than Brentford.
No. That Victor Gyökeres, by the way, from Sporting Lisbon, who we linked with, right? He has never been injured before. You know that?
Do you know he's got 50 goal contributions this season?
It's mental. He has been incredible, mate. His injury record is he's never been injured. Someone... I couldn't believe it. Someone asked me the other day, said, "Have you seen his injury record?" I went, "Nah." He went, "He's never been injured." I was like, "What?"
You watch the first game for you, he'll do his ACL.
Exactly. He'll get crocked if we sign him, mate. It's like Partey, never been injured when at Atletico Madrid. But listen, it's going to be interesting. Henry, what are you saying for the Newcastle Spurs game, bro?
I'm nervous about this one because the form, speaking of Isak, the form he's in, I think they haven't lost a home game since January, and I think that was against City. They're looking like they're trying to turn the corner, maybe a late push for some of the European places. But if we, like in this game, I don't want to see Basuma and Sarr. I think Deji's right. In the second half against Forest, when we brought on Højbjerg and Benson Core, we looked a lot more compact and a lot more tidy. Like everything seemed to be rushed, and we was giving away stopping passes in the first half. I think the front three, though, like our fan base is divided. Normally half our fan base are tapped anyway, but at the moment, I don't know if either of you have heard that we've got the opportunity to sign Timo Werner for 15 million quid. Now, when he crosses the ball, his actual return rate is very good, but I don't really see what else he brings. So in this game, I think in the way we play, I think Werner's got to start. I think you've got to go Werner. I'd go Johnson, Werner, and Son, but I wouldn't surprise me if Richarlison come in. But I don't know what either you think. Would you take Werner for 15 million quid, knowing that we're going to have another 20-odd games next season or 15-odd games next season?
I think he's trash. I think you need to get two new wingers, Henry. Honestly, I think the wide areas at Spurs is where I think you could definitely upgrade. I know Brennan Johnson's not been a massive flop, but he's not been amazing. Timo Werner,
he has improved since the
he has got better.
January.
Man, Solomon, I don't know what he's about. He's injured all the time. Perisic is gone, is he? I think, or is he injured? Yeah, he's gone.
gone.
So you're going to need 2 wingers, in my opinion. And you probably do need another centre forward as well as Son. If you're going to be talking about challenging like Deji wants and Ange wants, you're going to have to go and buy a front three, aren't you, really? Because like Son isn't getting any younger. I don't rate Richarlison and Werner enough to know that they're going to take you to a title. We just mentioned Brennan Johnson, who I think, he's probably out of the 3 got the most potential. But I don't know, £15 million for Werner don't win you, go and get you in the challenging in the title for me. When you link with Nico Williams and Pedro Neto and players like that, you're going to be wanting to get them. Tony's an absolute must for Spurs if that's a possibility. I don't really know what's happened to this Basuma kid because everyone was telling me he's better than Rice.
He's not. He's very inconsistent. Just to let you know, mate, he's Liverpool 2-0 down.
Are you for real?
Yeah.
Are you for real?
2-0 down to Atalanta.
Oh, God's sake, man.
Oh, it's a VAR check in progress. Like,
I
want
Liverpool to win.
So do I. I want them in. I don't want them coming out of that. That's the worst thing for us, man.
do you know what's going to happen, don't you? They're going to get knocked out. You'll get a result against Bayern. City will beat Madrid. You two will get each other, and Liverpool will be licking their lips because you'll go 12 rounds against each other, smashing the daylights out of each other, and Liverpool will.
I don't think Liverpool want to lose today.
Is it 2-0? Is it actually 2-0?
Yeah, it's been goals been given.
But there's a VAR check at the moment.
No, it's been given. Oh my God! Wow.
But the midfielder we're looking at signing,
2-0 given.
Edison. He's the DM for Atalanta. Apparently, he's played well tonight. But yeah, we need. I think you are right. We need. Skamaka got a brace.
Yeah. Both goals.
You know what's going to happen, didn't you? West Ham are going to end up doing it again. They're going to
Please don't.
I think West Ham are. I mean, just how many shots do you think Leverkusen have had so far?
Well, I'll tell you what. Fabianski made a wonderful save.
From Ronaldo.
Was he? Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, unbelievable save.
They've had 20 shots. 20 shots in the 60th minute, and West Ham have had 1. Honestly, I'm telling you, they are going to knock Leverkusen out. And I'm not being funny. If Liverpool go out tonight and Leverkusen go out, West Ham have either got Milan or Roma. I fancy them to do it. I really do.
Yeah.
It's
They've
just
got nothing else to play for, have they?
No, they've got, you know what I mean, like another trophy on the cabinet for them. That'd be unbelievable for West Ham.
And they'll win it, right? And they'll still want Moyes out.
And then they'll be in the Champions League if that happens.
Can you imagine? Honestly, mate. This
West
is the thing.
Ham in the Champions League.
They will shit ours this competition again, like they did that Conference League, mate.
I've just realised that they'll be
and if you get 5th place, that West Ham would take that, knock that out. You know what I mean? So whoever gets 5th place, if they win the Europa League.
Oh yeah, it would.
I think there's 5 teams in it regardless, isn't there? Because of the coefficient points.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But I think there's only you can't have 6 teams in it.
You can't.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
I know, man. Someone in the chat, let me know if that's true.
Yeah, I think it's
Villa are 2-0 up as well, by the way. Villa have just gone 2-0 up as well. But I expect them to beat Lille, to be fair.
No, I expect Villa to go and win that conference.
I think they will. I think Emery will win that. Yeah.
I'm going to be really honest. I want them to win it. Good luck to them. I've got nothing.
Yeah, so do I, man. Absolutely. I said that as well. Let's close the show with a little quick chat of title race. Every week we talk about it, but weeks go by. Man City got Luton. That'll be about 4-0. Liverpool got Palace at home. That'll be about 2-0, 3-0. Arsenal, serious pressure this weekend after the Bayern game, which knocked a little bit of confidence out of us, Lee. But I look at it and I think Wolves away, Spurs away, Man United away. I can't get my head out of those ones. Am I being foolish there? Am I concentrating on those games away too much and then we might slip up at home? That's my worry, Lee.
Yeah, but listen, someone said to me, what's our toughest game of the season? What's the toughest game in the fixture list? And I turned around and said Aston Villa. He said, why Aston Villa? Because it's the next game. And that's how it is, Dan. I'm worried about who we got the following. I don't, I know we got the following. We've got Wolves, but I'm not interested. It's all about Villa. I'm not interested about Bayern Munich. I'll be interested about Bayern Munich come Sunday night, but I'm not interested about anything now. Wolves will be a difficult game. But for me, it's all focus on Aston Villa. If we lose to Aston Villa or don't win against Aston Villa, Wolves don't mean nothing. Tottenham don't mean nothing because we ain't winning the league. It's as simple as that. We have to, if we want to win the league, we can't afford to drop any silly points at home because we've done that in the past. Win this game and go from there. Listen, Brighton was a difficult one. We was all saying, oh, this is one of the ones that's going to let us know 3-0. So, we can go to Wolves and do exactly the same. We can go to Man United and Tottenham and do the same. I don't know. Tottenham game, anything can happen in that. As I said, off air, they're probably going to be preparing for it properly, inside information. But listen, that ain't really inside information. We know that. And they're going to take that seriously. And then the Man United game, I think, they could be in a cup final by then. Not going to get top four. Listen, I think the Newcastle game on Sunday, is it Saturday? Saturday morning, isn't it? Saturday, the early one.
Yeah.
It's a massive game for Spurs because I think that if they lose this, then I'm not saying that they will be a lot, but Man United are the shark that, might think, oh, there's a little nibble there, a little bit of a chance. Don't give them that chance. That's what I would say if I was Tottenham. We can't let them come in here.
I think if we win, though, Lee, I think it's. I
think it's done. I think
surely, but I think you'll beat Villa, and they're going to be focusing on Europe. I think we'll get fourth.
Yeah, and I think it's virtually done if you win that game. But if you don't, then other teams will look at it. Well, I'm pretty sure Villa will as well, and think they've got to go away to Liverpool, play Arsenal, play Man City. They could drop 9 points there. That could be 12 points if you lose to Newcastle. It's doable. Don't encourage any other team. Don't go and get the job done at Newcastle. Where Newcastle, by the way, can still get into Europe as well. So they'll be still desperate to get into Europe for the finances of fair play and all that sort of crap. So it's going to be really, really interesting from that point of view. But I think that and you know what? I don't want to go into that Spurs game with them having no pressure, knowing that all they've got to concentrate on is beating us. You know what I mean? I want to have them feeling a little bit of a heat on the collars, having looking behind their shoulder a little bit, So I'm desperate for Newcastle to win this game, and I'm desperate that Newcastle give them a good pumping and all that. I really am. So just to put a little bit of nerves in there, and then they've got to dwell on that for however long it is.
15, 19 days or something crazy.
So it's a crazy time. So, but if they win that game, they can be a little bit, a little bit more. They can sit back for a couple of weeks and see what happens, Spurs, with other teams. So I think it's a very, very interesting game. I do think that the way the game goes suits Spurs, but don't underestimate Newcastle because they've been on a bit of a run lately. And they've still got some good players, and if those good players turn up, it'll be there. But I do expect Spurs to win this game.
Yeah, I think Spurs will win this one 2-1. That's my prediction. What did you guys say for the result, the score?
I'm going to go 2-1 as well.
I think there'll be more goals. I'm going to go 3-2 Spurs. We can't keep clean sheet for Toffee. We've had 2 clean sheets since December. We can't, other than Sheffield United, we've got the worst defensive record at keeping clean sheets.
Oh, so we're going 2-2 then.
I reckon 3-2. But do you know what? One thing I will say is if Villa do beat us, we and half got a tough run of games coming up. We've got Chelsea, City, Liverpool, Arsenal, all to play yet.
I forgot about the Chelsea game because that's been chucked in as well, isn't it? After the Arsenal game, is it on a Thursday night?
That's the worst run of fixtures. That's the worst run of fixtures.
Yeah, we got the next 3 games. We got Newcastle, Arsenal, and Chelsea. And like you said, after this Newcastle game, we haven't got a game for 15 days.
Yeah, and it's so what? So Newcastle, then you got Arsenal, then you got Chelsea, then you got Liverpool.
Yeah, then we got Burnley at home, and then we got City. If we beat Burnley at home, Sheffield United at home.
If it was to lose this game, then lose to Arsenal, lose to Chelsea, lose to Liverpool, that's 12 points. 12 points dropped.
We ain't going to lose all 4. I'll tell you exactly my prediction of all 4 games. Right, we beat Newcastle, we draw to you lot, because I just think some way, what or another, you're going to end up getting past Bayern Munich, and that fixture is slap bang in the middle between the Champions League, the next round of the legs, right? Chelsea away, we never get anything. So I'll be at this point, even though they're that bad, I take a draw. Liverpool, 72 hours later, I reckon we could quite easily get hammered. If Liverpool go out of the Europa League, I make them
you're only
clear.
going to get 2 points out of 12.
No, I reckon
Well,
we beat
you're going Newcastle win, aren't you? Like,
I reckon we get 4.
5.
I mean, it's. I mean, if you as an Arsenal fan, you were playing, let's say, Liverpool, City, Spurs, and Newcastle, 4 points isn't exactly. I mean, yes, you got to win those games to win a title, but that is a bloody hard run.
I think and what makes it even difficult for you is that then there's this big break afterwards. You know, with a team that's had a lot of breaks. You know what I mean? Like, so I don't know if that's a good thing.
And then we got City. Remember, I think
you can get 7 out of that. I think you can get 7. I think you'll beat Chelsea and Newcastle, and I think you'll draw to Arsenal. I do think that is the draw. Unfortunately, I'd love to say we beat you, but I'm going as well, so I really want to beat you. But last time I went there, wasn't very fun. Let me tell you that now.
Well, it was last time I was there. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, last time you went, enjoyed it. I went the year before. We beat 3.
And then we got City on the.
Holding got sent off. That was the worst.
Listen, we'll be all right. We'll be all right. Don't worry. We're a different team to what we was that time. I'll tell you what, Spurs are probably have improved. That's an interesting question. Like, you know, have they improved from that team? Difficult to say.
Yeah,
now.
Yeah, and
we're not relying on Harry Kane. We've got more goals in our team. We're conceding less.
And I do think that Spurs, I think will. And we'll keep me powder dry with that one, but I think Spurs the way Spurs will set up and all that will help us.
They will roll over against Man City, though. Spurs.
Oh, 100%.
Oh, 1,000,000%.
I
want us to rest all 11 players for the.
That's why it's important for me that they lose to Newcastle.
Oh, let's hit the bar. Sorry, just looking at Leverkusen absolutely battering West Ham, and it's just.
Oh, we're getting which we'll get off it now and watch the last.
Unbelievable, unbelievable.
We want West Ham to lose. I'm not bothered if they really.
Oh, I can't believe they're unbearable.
It's just more like laughing, just thinking.
Oh, don't.
Yeah, I can't deal with Lawless, really, if I'm honest, but there we go.
Do you know if they win the Europa, they're going to have a bigger European pedigree than you boys?
I know, exactly. That's why I don't want them to win it. Unbelievable. But there we go. Just quickly before we do wrap up, you can only answer this with a number. How many points are Man City going to drop between now and the end of the season?
None,
I agree. Henry?
1. No, they're going to drop 2 points. They're going to draw.
So you mean they'll draw? Okay.
They draw at our place. But looking at the fixtures, mate, it's hard to say that City won't do it. I've even got an outside little bet on that. I think they're going to do the treble again.
That's what I think. I think they're doing the treble again, 100%.
If he does the treble again, does he go down as the greatest manager of all time?
Yes, I think he already is for me. But yeah, he definitely will then, 100%.
That would be a treble with Barca, a treble with City, and another one.
A lesser squad as well. Like, I think their squad's not as strong as as last season. So if they were to do it again, it would be incredible.
It would be.
They could still end up with nothing. Let's remember that. Like, let's hope
that is. I think if they drop one game, it will be 2 max. But I think they'll win them all. So I'm gonna go. What about Liverpool? How many are they going to drop, Lee?
I still think Liverpool will drop. I think they'll drop 4.
Okay, I think they'll drop 2 points. Henry,
a bit of an outside shout, but I don't think they'll drop a point. If Villa go through the one game, I think that where they could drop is Villa away, but I think Villa will be in the semi-finals of the Conference League by then, or maybe even the final. I look at their fixtures. I mean, who have they got? They've got us at home. They'll beat. They've got Everton away. I know they're fighting for their lives, and they've had more point deductions than wins recently, but I think they'll beat them. I don't know what else Liverpool have got.
Liverpool got.
I tell a lie. They will drop points because they've got 3 away days in 7 games.
Yeah, they got 3 away days. That is the one. I mean, they'll drop 2 points,
but they might be out of the Europa by then.
They might be, mate. They might be the way it's going. And then Arsenal. What do you reckon, Henry?
I only think you're going to drop points at the Spurs game. I think you beat United. I think you beat everyone else.
So 2 as well. I agree with you. I think it'll be 2 points that we drop, Lee.
No points.
So we're going to win all 7. And
We'll
we'll win the
win.
league.
And
There we go.
You know what I mean? Like, it's a big weekend this weekend because I think like there could be a few goals in it for a couple of teams. So it's not guaranteed with that.
Do you think you'll beat Bayern?
No.
No, I don't either.
No. I think. Listen, I want to be really honest about the Bayern game. I would have said if we'd have won by 2 goals, I was confident.
Yeah, same.
One goal, I wasn't confident. So a draw, I'm not. I can't say that all of a sudden say, oh yeah, we're going to go and win there. Like, you know what I mean? I think that.
Would you sacrifice a draw against Villa if it meant beating Bayern?
No. You know what I mean? Like, I want to win the league. You know what I mean? I want to win both. But if you're saying to me what one I'm going to choose,
I actually would because I want to win the Champions League.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, what would you rather win more?
I honestly don't think that we're going to get past the next round anyway.
No, you're probably right.
The 2 teams are good. You know what I mean? Like, if we get in it, let's get in it for experience and enjoy it and the experience of it all. But listen, we can go and beat. Look, listen, if we beat Germany, if we beat Bayern Munich, I'll be surprised but delighted. But I don't think that we will, like, you know what I mean? I think like
yeah, play, man. Listen, let's go watch the last 20 minutes of this football.
Yeah, let's go and watch the last 20 minutes.
Legends, both of you. Thanks for Deji for coming on. Thanks to Henry for coming on.
Cheers, Henry.
Yeah, no worries,
absolute mate. Legend for coming on, man. Henry Wright TV. Make sure you go follow it. Henry Talks Football also. And make sure you like and subscribe to this one, people. We're going to go watch the football. We're out of here. Take it easy. Peace.